I just want to take a second to follow up on John's welcome to everybody in Atlanta. We are here for what you probably know we have titled A New Decade of Liberty, and we are here to kick that new decade off. We are in the first month of a brand new decade, and as John said, people are tired. People are tired, people are angry, people are frustrated, people are looking for answers we have to give. We have a message, we have a movement, we have an army ready to get out there and spread that message and back things up. We are here this weekend to train, to learn not only more about philosophy, but about the practical tactics it takes to get out there and take our nation back. But what does a new decade of liberty mean? What are the things we are going for? What are we reaching for? And I was trying to think of a little bit of what to say, what some of our pursuits are, what we mean by liberty. And first of all, I was thinking that we want a world where money actually increases in value over time, actually gains something. And it occurred to me while thinking this over that maybe we've been a little too kind to Keynesianism. We've allowed it to have that high-sounding, big, fancy name. Knock on somebody's door. Hi, I oppose Keynesianism. Sounds almost too respectable. So I have decided, in my own personal use, that I think Keynesianism is better off called the wimpy school of economics. And some of you might know where I'm going with this. If you grew up watching Popeye, you know, one of the characters on the show was a character named Wimpy. And his big catchphrase is what I believe is the motto of the Keynesian School of Economics. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. I will gladly send you the bill next week for a bridge today. I will gladly fine you later on if you don't get health care today. So I think that's a more fitting motto for the Keynesian School of Economics. And besides just being titled wimpy, I think it's actually pretty wimpy when we have to go begging other countries for the money to run our own country's affairs. And I think that's time that came to an end. We dream of a world where we're not going out and mopping up every other country's business. We dream of a world where we send our soldiers out under a just declaration for a just cause that is wrapped up in a timely matter with a just conclusion. And we dream of a world where if you're not hurting anybody and they're not hurting you, you deserve to be left alone. And something else that occurred to me, recently I've been trying to watch bits and pieces of the movie Braveheart, which I just got for Christmas, thanks to my wonderful, lovely sister-in-law, if she ever sees this video. And I've been watching a few clips of it. It's been a while since I've watched the whole thing, but there's a scene there that really, I think, summarizes what we're trying to do this weekend. It's William Wallace. He's in arguing with the Scottish lords and authorities that are supposed to be the people leading Scotland and supposed to be the people standing up to British tyranny. And he gets angry with just how much they're rolling over in the face of tyranny. And he tells them that you've spent so long arguing for scraps from the king's table that you've missed out on your God-given right to something better. We're here this weekend to lead people back to their God-given right to something better. It explains a little bit about our theme, what we're going for. And tomorrow, I think we got some great training lined up, which, speaking of our training, we do have some spots still left up if you haven't yet signed up. We're going to have some excellent courses tomorrow, not only in political training, but we're going to have what's called an Economic Liberty Forum with Tom Woods and Thomas DiLorenzo and Drew Walkwell, where they'll be going into some pretty great detail about Austrian economics and what a world with sound money would look like, what our philosophy really means. And I think they're going to arm you with some great information. So if you haven't yet signed up for our training, just $65, I urge you to do that tonight. And we're going to do something a little different for a second. If you've been to one of our freedom celebrations before, you probably know how the usual flow and the order goes. I'll change things up just a second. I want to ask everybody here, if you can, please stand up. Now, not only helping with our stretching before we sit for a couple hours here, there's a great church tradition, great Southern church tradition, where people on Sundays will greet their neighbor, find out who's around them. We come from all different sorts of areas, all sorts of different backgrounds and philosophies and ideas. I think we should just take a couple minutes tonight, find out who's around you, ask them where they come from, find out what their names are. And that's as great as a lead-in as I can give to it. So take a couple seconds, get to know who's around you. All right, just a couple more announcements to make. We'll continue on with our program. So hopefully you got to know a little bit about the people around you, where some people come from, people you haven't met before, and hopefully you'll be working a lot with in the future. So a little something different. We thought we'd shake things up a little bit. A couple quick announcements again. I mentioned it earlier. We do have raffle tickets available for $1. I think we'll be selling those probably to about $8.20. The main prize that is up is winning a ticket to the private briefing with Ron Paul, which is a $500 value. So for $1, go ahead and enter that. Second announcement is our next major event coming up is CPAC in Washington, D.C. in February. So several of you have already signed up, which we're grateful for. CPAC is an event that brings together thousands of conservatives and libertarians from across the country, and it is a place that is right for our message, and we have a great chance to make an impact. Let's put it this way. We had so many volunteers last year that in the first 3 hours of a 3-day event, CPAC had already asked us to stop passing stuff out about Campaign for Liberty. So we put on T-shirts and passed more stuff out. So we look forward to making a huge impact this year, and we can only do that with your help. So if you're interested in going to CPAC, if you're able to, please visit our table outside. It would be great to sign you up for that. All right now, I'd like to introduce our first speaker. Her name is Valerie Myers. She is an active... There we go. She is an active member of the Georgia Republican Party, most recently served as a vice chairman in the 8th Congressional District. She served as Houston County Coordinator and 8th Congressional District Coordinator for, Houston, there we go. Virginia, for Ron Paul's 2008 presidential campaign, where she helped to organize grassroots support of hundreds of volunteers across 5 middle Georgia counties. She was Campaign for Liberty's Regional Coordinator for the 8th Congressional District before stepping down to run for Congress. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Valerie Myers.
I'm Valerie Myers, and I am seeking the Republican nomination to become Georgia's 8th Congressional District Representative. So if any of you are interested, thanks, Ike. If any of you are interested in representing, helping out with the campaign, please go visit our website. It's valerieforcongress.com. As part of what I was doing with Campaign for Liberty, well, actually it was during Ron Paul's presidential campaign in the summer of 2007, I drove 2 hours to Columbus, Georgia to hear our next speaker for the first time. He so impressed me that I bought his book, The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History, on the spot and refused to leave until he signed it. And of course, I'm speaking of Tom Woods, an impressive gentleman who is a senior fellow at the Ludwig von Mises Institute. He holds a bachelor's degree in history from Harvard and a master's and PhD from Columbia. He's the author of 9 books, 2 of which are New York Times bestsellers, including most recently his book Meltdown, which I'm sure many of you have read. His books have been translated into 12 languages. He won the $50,000 First Prize Templeton Enterprise Award in 2006 for his book The Church and the Market. He has appeared on just about every major cable news network and has been a guest on hundreds of radio programs to discuss and defend his views. His writing has been described by the Journal of American Studies as making complex philosophical and theological concepts approachable. And I have to agree with that assessment. Tom Woods has the gift of being able to write and lecture with authenticity, honesty, and intelligence. His work speaks to us on every intellectual level without ever talking down to anybody. Without Tom Woods' work, there would be far fewer candidates like me inspired to run. So I appreciate what he's done. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the stage one of the Liberty movement's most entertaining and influential minds, author and historian Tom Woods.